Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host, Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host, Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. The show must go on. You've heard that adage. The show must go on. Well, it can't go on if there's rain. It can't go on if there's winds at the ground. It can't go on if there's winds aloft. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. The show can't go on if there's rain and wind, and that was the case a lot of times in 2022 during the 50th anniversary of the Balloon Fiesta. And the show cannot go on without volunteers. And the volunteers are called navigators. On the program today, we're going to talk about the navigators who make the show go on. Because without them, we won't see those balloons coloring the skies or those balloons glowing on the ground. We know there's a board of directors for the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We know there's a paid staff. But we have the volunteers who really make things happen. On the show, we're going to talk to two of them to see how they've been making things happen over the past several years and what they're looking forward to in the future. Please stay with us as we talk to navigators right after this. When you think about the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, you think of just the beauty of it. But how about how things are made to happen? Again, it can't go on with those navigators, and I have two of them. One of them who has been a volunteer for over 45 years, and I'm talking to Kim Vesely. Thank you so much for being a part of the program, Kim, and for all you've done for the Balloon Fiesta. And I also have with me Cynthia Brittain, who is from Richmond, West Virginia, and Virginia, and you've been a volunteer for 4 years. How did you get involved, Cynthia?
I got involved when my husband passed away. This is our anniversary time, and every year we went somewhere for 2 weeks, and I had to go somewhere we hadn't been before. We had been to Albuquerque, but we had never been to the Balloon Festival. So when I read about it online, I was like, this is something that I want to do. I'm a photographer. I want to go out and capture the balloons and have a great experience, what would usually be my wedding anniversary.
And how does it make you feel now being with all of us? Of course, not your dear departed husband, but you're with all of us.
It makes me feel wonderful, and I know he's with me every step of the way, but it's just been so wonderful. I can't even explain it. It's just so thrilling to be here and to see all the balloons, and there are so many nice people that are helping volunteer that I've met from all over the world. And it's been a fantastic experience.
And that's why you're always smiling.
Yes,
Cynthia. When I met you at the media tent up there on the on the stand taking photos, you're just smiling, laughing all the time.
Life's too short not to.
Thank you. Kim, I cough. 45 years.
It's actually 47, but I started as a journalist covering the Fiesta for one of the local TV stations here in town. And then got hooked and was just fascinated by it and started crewing and flying and volunteering for the Balloon Fiesta.
Tell me, Kim, again, you've had very many different positions with the Balloon Fiesta. Cynthia, you're a photographer, you're very proud. I think your photos have made it into the official calendar and in advertisements and things, so that makes you feel good too.
It does.
And the photos that we're showing today are photos that you've taken and shared with us. So, such as this one. What do you think of that?
I just love the color. I just love the magnificent colors that are out here.
But volunteering, it's true. It makes it happen, Kim.
Absolutely, and there are so many ways that people can get involved because there's just incredible numbers of roles that they have that people can fill, in hospitality, in field work, helping, we open a small city out there that can accommodate 100,000 people. And you have to have all the infrastructure that you would have in any city, and it takes people to do that. The Balloon Fiesta staff is only 17 to 20 people, around in that range. The rest of us are all volunteers. We're navigators that help our guests at Balloon Fiesta come in and have a great time. That's what we're there for.
And you're not necessarily behind the scenes, because we see the zebras, who are the launch directors, launch officials with their zebra colors on, and they're, doing theirs and blowing their whistles. We see them. We sometimes see the photographers around, but a lot of people are kind of behind the scenes.
Absolutely, and especially in hospitality areas and traffic control, and just almost anything you can imagine. And it's very easy to volunteer. It's very easy to get involved. And one thing that we do need to mention is the chase crews, because those folks mostly are volunteers as well. For the individual pilots, and there are hundreds of them, actually thousands of them, that take care of the pilots in the Balloon Fiesta.
Now, Cynthia was nodding when you said it's easy to volunteer. So had you ever been to Fiesta before you volunteered?
No, I had not. I was just online looking for something to do during these 2 weeks, and it just popped up somehow. I don't even know how I found out about it. And then I saw, oh, there's a volunteer button.
Volunteer button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I clicked on it and I applied. And that was it. And then it was very hard finding a hotel room, because I didn't do it a year in advance like I've done now. But I found a hotel room and started coming out here, and I plan on doing it as long as I can. I just love it that much.
So you clicked the button, and how did you choose how to volunteer?
You just filled out the form and everything on there, your name, if you want.
But what choice? The choices it gave you?
Oh, it gave me like golf cart driver, which I did do that from the first year, and that was very beneficial because I know where everything is located on the field. So people ask me all the time, because they see photographer, where is this, where is that? And I can tell them where to go to get to it because I was a golf cart driver. Then I helped in hospitality a little bit, and I did photography also.
What did you do in hospitality?
I helped the senior citizens. I rode the golf cart to the hospitality tents for them. I drove them. I also served them food in the hospitality tents, and also served them different beverages.
The hospitality tents, Kim, who are they for?
Well, there are different types of hospitality tents. There is sponsor hospitality. There is the Gondola Club, which provides a very unique guest experience where people get special parking. They have chauffeur service around the field, and food, and they can either sit there and watch the balloons, or of course walk out onto the field. There's the Chasers Club, and then there are also various. There's a media hospitality effort, and there are also various corporate hospitality.
So all of those have volunteers as well?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the chase crew, it's like building a city. The chase crew, of course, are the folks who go on to help unload the envelope of the balloons. And a lot of these pilots come from out of state.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't have family and friends here necessarily to help them unfold that and get it all ready and help blow up the envelope and send it aloft. But then tell me, Cynthia, why it's called chase. It's just not what we see in the field. But these people, because I talk to them, they say, I got to go. Well, where do you got to go? Where do they have to go, Cynthia?
They have to follow you. You're in the balloon, and they have to follow you wherever you go. Last year I went up in a balloon, and the wind wasn't perfect, so we went like 20 miles or so outside of Albuquerque, and this chase crew was chasing us everywhere. We landed in the desert. There was nothing around, so they had to get the truck as close as they could to load up the basket and the envelope and take us back to the Fiesta grounds. And that was a great experience, because even though I was a photographer, I also helped as part of the crew, so I saw all the stages it takes to get the balloon blown up, to get it to fly, to get it to land, even the fueling. I got to see how it was fueled and everything, so it was a great.
Yeah.
They chase because they literally have to chase.
Yeah, exactly.
To chase those
Yeah,
balloons.
chasing's a little bit of a misnomer in some ways, because to some degree you're trying to anticipate where the balloon is going to go.
Right.
So you're watching how the balloon is going at different altitudes and trying to figure out, okay, well, when the balloon comes down, the wind's closer to the ground, or doing this, how do I get out in front so that we can be there more quickly when the pilot lands. You know, it doesn't mean you have to be there, because the pilot, of course, can land the balloon by him or herself, but it's, and that's the way a lot of people get into ballooning, actually, because everybody needs a chase crew. It's very easy to volunteer for that. I mean, balloonists can always use help, right? And it's the entry for most people who get serious about it. That's their entry into the sport, is through crewing. And then some get interested in flying and go on to become pilots.
And what's interesting, Kim and Cynthia, is that these volunteers, as I thought before I met Cynthia, I thought they're just New Mexicans, people from Albuquerque who come and say, you know, I'll take a week off of work and I'll go there and crew. But no, they're not.
No, they come from all over, all over the country, and some even from other countries. And this is their vacation.
Yes.
And this is their vacation. They come to the Balloon Fiesta to volunteer. It's great, and you get to meet people from all over the world that you would never otherwise get to know. It's wonderful.
How do you get to meet them? Where do you get to meet these people?
On the ground, in the tents. We have a navigator's tent where we can go have breakfast and lunch and dinner. We have navigator parties. For us, they do for us. I mean, I've volunteered for lots of organizations, but I have never volunteered for an organization that treats volunteers like we're kings and queens. We get jackets, we get shirts like this one, we got a vest, it has photographer on the back. We are treated like royalty, and I really appreciate that in volunteering, because I do spend hundreds of dollars to do this. And it's because I'm treated so well. I get a nice thick coat every year. I've got 4 different coats. I'll never have to buy another coat as long as I live, because I have Balloon Fiesta coats that they give us.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
So you pay for your flight to get here. You pay for your hotel room. But other than that, and it's a requirement of how many days you volunteer?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You have to volunteer at least 5 shifts. And there are about 14 shifts for the whole Fiesta. You have to volunteer for at least 5 shifts to get the goodies. As a photographer, I'm out there almost every time when it's not raining. You know, we usually cover the whole gamut from all 14 at some point in time, because we need pictures of everything going on.
And the 14 stages would be, I imagine, the morning events and then the afternoon
Right,
events.
exactly.
So, again, run through what you get, Kim.
Well,
what are the
like I said,
not you, but volunteers and
it kind of
navigators?
depends on where you are and what you do. But you know, it's usually pins. They do have parties.
Pins. You said pins?
Yeah.
Okay,
They
pins.
have navigator
fine. That's fine.
They have navigator pins. They have parties.
Parties. What kind of parties?
Well, for example, they always do one every year specifically for navigators, and the members of the board of directors go out and hustle up all kinds of stuff to give away. And were you at the navigator party?
I was.
I mean, how many gifts do you think they went through? A couple of 300.
Yeah,
I think.
And some of them are huge TVs. I mean, really big TVs, and pairs, flights for the balloon. You can get a free flight.
That were all donated by local folks, which we really appreciate. And they just do a drawing with all the navigators' names, and there are over 1,000 navigators.
Yeah, like 1,200.
Yeah.
Plus.
But many of them, again, we're going to talk about the positions. I'm more interested in knowing, and our viewers who can volunteer.
Exactly.
You get the pins, the parties. I think they're having events at the zoo.
Today, yes.
Other places they have parties.
Yeah, they do. They do jackets.
Jackets.
And they,
the jackets you see out
for navigators.
And they're not just jackets; they're thick coats.
But even crew members get jackets if they volunteer.
Not really crew, no. But it's the
chase
people
crew
that
don't necessarily.
not necessarily chase crew, but the volunteers that actually perform functions for the Fiesta, the navigators, actually do that. And there also is a special navigator hospitality area where navigators who are off shift can go and get food and drink and sit and visit, and it's right off the field.
And that's where you meet all these folks.
Exactly.
And you said sometimes breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Sometimes, yes. Now, like the days that they don't have an afternoon event, it's just breakfast. But other days.
But you go in there, and that's where, Cynthia, you've met other folks
yeah.
from across the world,
the
who
world.
volunteer.
Exactly.
And it's not just the navigators. It's the people you talk to on the field, the visitors to Balloon Fiesta, who have questions. You spend a lot of time answering questions.
Where's the bathrooms? I know that's what
That
they
would
ask.
be
Yeah,
that would be number
I hear
one.
that in my head. Where's the bathroom? Where's the bathroom?
That would be.
Right.
But they see that you're official, Cynthia.
Right.
What do they
Exactly.
ask you? What do folks ask?
The pen trading day, they have a pen trading day. And several people said, well, where's the group hospitality tent? They had no clue. And it was blocked by some RVs that were displayed. So I said, just go around the RVs, and there's where you can trade pens. So they asked me a lot of questions about where is this, where is that, what's happening now.
Yeah, everything you can think of. And then if you look remotely like you're connected to a balloon, you get all kinds of questions, of course, about balloons and ballooning. And the one that I got today is, well, why can't they go up when it's raining? Well, the answer to that, just if you want to know, is that when the balloon gets wet, it gets heavy. And that affects the flight performance. Not to mention what it's like to pack up a wet balloon, which you only have to do about once before you never want to do it again.
Right.
So,
How interesting. Now, folks back home, do you tell people about the volunteering experience, Cynthia?
Oh, yes, I do. I tell everybody I can think of. And several of my friends have wanted to volunteer, but guess how many have come so far? 0. So I'm hoping that I can get some people to volunteer and come out with me because...
But you don't need them. You don't need them.
I really don't because I make new friends and we constantly contact, over Facebook and stuff. So, no, I have new friends out here because of the Fiesta.
How remarkable. That's interesting. Over 1,000 navigators.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you chose photography, such as... How beautiful is that? Tell me a little bit about that, Cynthia.
That was when the balloons were getting ready to take off on either Saturday morning or Sunday morning. And I just like them because they're all lined up. And you see all the beautiful colors. That's what I like most, is the really colorful balloons. Now, my favorite balloon is Cynthia the seal.
well, of course.
Because I'm Cynthia. So I tell everybody, look, this is my balloon. It's Cynthia.
How did you choose the photography? That's nothing in your profession, or is it?
Well, I've done photography for years and years and years, and I've done weddings and sporting events and different things. So when I saw photography, that's my passion. My passions in life are traveling and photography. So they go hand in hand, traveling to Albuquerque and then shooting the Balloon Fiesta. Who can say that they've been to an international event and been able to photograph it?
And you have your own equipment.
Correct.
And what do you use?
I use Canon and several different lenses.
And then you download. How do you send? Do you just choose which photos you want to send to the Fiesta, or do you send everything?
I choose which photos. Some of them don't turn out as well as others. So I pick which ones that I really want to send to the Fiesta. And then they use them in any way they want to.
And you've seen them in?
I've seen them in magazines. I've seen them on the calendar, on the website. They're all over the place. And even though I don't get credit for them sometimes, I'm still very happy that they are using my photos. I don't need the credit. I just get very happy that I can volunteer and do this.
What other types of volunteers do you meet, Cynthia?
Of course, other photographers. And then when you go in any of the tents, you meet the people working in those tents.
Sure.
You meet the people that sell items, souvenirs and stuff in the souvenir tent. The Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta tent where they're selling everything, you meet those people. So I meet so many people because I'm out there everywhere, And when they see photo on my back, they're like, oh, let me ask you this, this, and this. And sometimes I can answer the questions and sometimes I don't. One thing that's very important, that I think is important, and you may also, is we have to go through training to learn about the balloons, to learn how they blow up, how they do this, how they do that. So we have to take classes every year before we come out here online, so we can be prepared for questions that we may be asked.
Yeah, I think it's about 2.5 hours maybe of annual training, and it covers safety. It covers the event itself and how to find information. So when we get asked all these questions, there's a Balloon Fiesta app that you can subscribe to that has a great map in it where you can go and it tells you where the restrooms are and where the ATMs are and all of the questions that you tend to get asked. And so they go through a lot of this stuff during this navigator training that we take every year. And there's a general overview. There is a class on Ballooning 101, as Cynthia mentioned, that kind of talks about the basics of how balloons work. So you're not just walking out there cold. You do have, even if it's your first year, you do have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of experience, and then you learn so much when you're on the field.
It's beautiful. In addition, Kim, to the navigator volunteers, the people who help park, Civitan organizations.
Yes.
So there's another way that people can volunteer, not directly through Fiesta, but through their organization. And I think they are the ones who man the Balloon Fiesta official souvenir tents. So they work parking. You see them collecting your $20 and parking you. But those are organizations that receive money back from the Fiesta, paying for that service.
Yeah. Some of these organizations, like the Civitans, have been doing, and I want to say the Kiwanis as well, have been doing event parking for forever. I mean, since as far back as I can remember. And thank heavens, because that's a pretty thankless job.
It is.
And they do a terrific job for the Balloon Fiesta. They really do. I'm so glad you brought that up.
But I've seen them, and then they're also in the souvenir tents. So they aren't volunteers with the Fiesta; they're volunteers with their organization. But then the Fiesta contracts with that organization for the volunteers, and I understand they pay them to use for their donations for their nonprofit.
Yeah, they help the nonprofit. So that's one way the Balloon Fiesta can give back to the community as well.
Yeah. One thing I'll just say quickly about parking. They sure have the people putting you into the lot, collecting your money, steering you in, but I'll bring this up to the Fiesta, but I'll tell Kim as well, when you go to your car to leave, they're a hot mess, those parking lots. So we have the police on the streets directing everybody. That's easy, we're all flowing. But getting out of the lots and your turn, my turn, you can bring that back. That's tough. Kim,
Guess what?
Have you heard that? Have you heard that?
Every once in a while. And one of the perennial problems, of course, has been for people to try to remember where they parked their car. One thing they've done this year to try to help that is they named the parking lots after Looney Tune characters. So, you can know that you parked in the Roadrunner lot, for example, or the Coyote lot.
And they've also used colors this year, too.
Yeah, and so it's color-coded now, which may help a little bit. Now, that doesn't solve the problem you brought up.
Have you heard? Yeah. Well, that's up for another, but it is true. They're all coming from different lanes, and but I think, where are those guys who helped put us in the spots? Where are they now to help us get out?
They do. The Fiesta does a huge debrief after every Balloon Fiesta, where they survey the pilots and some of the other folks involved, just to try to come up with how can we make this better every year.
Yeah.
One thing that they do for the volunteers too is we have our own parking lot.
Oh, that's true. We
don't have those issues. And then we have the golf carts that picks us up from our parking lot and takes us to the navigator tent or wherever we need to go.
Talk about royalties.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's actually got a separate entrance. The navigator lot does. It's got a separate entrance, and like I said, it does have a shuttle. It's a little bit away from the field, but there is a shuttle to take navigators to the field.
Yes.
Wow
is right. Wow.
So New Mexico volunteer, right? I mean, they can volunteer for many of the churches and things, but I'm saying, wow, you want to be treated like royalty.
We are. We truly are. And the police are really great too. They are really very supportive and take care of us also.
Do they need volunteers, Kim?
Always.
Yes.
Always, because it's a very big operation, and you're dealing with tens of thousands of people, and there's all kinds of roles that people can play, and you can sign up on the Balloon Fiesta website.
Easy.
It's just really easy.
That was from the 50th.
Yeah, that was the flyover.
Wow, Cynthia.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to see this somewhere.
Okay, I hope so.
In an ad, in the program. Yeah. Isn't that something?
Oh, that's the Chili's flyover.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah, isn't that?
Yeah, that was the first day of Fiesta, and that I believe is Ray Bear, who is on the board of directors. Last year, he was the oldest pilot in the history of Balloon Fiesta to finish in the top 3. Ray is 80. He flew the American flag out the first day, if I remember correctly.
But that shot with the chili.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
for you.
Thank
Wonder
you.
if we're going to see that
I
somewhere.
hope so. We'll see.
have
We're
Mike-
seeing it somewhere now. So.
Mike's going to show some other photos. Tell us, he's going to run through some other ones. Tell us a little bit about the other ones that he's going to pop up there. That's okay.
That one has 2 sides, 2 different.
Two-faced.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the pieces of the other face, but not truly. It would never turn around to get them together. And that's just, it's so colorful. All the colors and the people. And I thought that was neat. While it looks like the penguin's
Tall
almost sitting.
Steve. That's Tall Steve.
He's almost sitting on the other balloon. And the witch for Halloween, had to get her in.
That's new.
And this
Yeah.
is all for the 50th.
Yes,
All these were this
yeah.
year. Okay,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got 4 years of photos.
No, but this is just this year.
In
All these are just this year.
2022.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, sometimes you're up on the, what is it called? The
Media lift of
lift.
I guess.
The media tower. The media
But do you
tower.
do most from the tower? Or you
No,
go?
this is the first time I've ever done it from the tower. The very first time when I met you. I had never used it before. I like being on the ground with the people and getting shots of the people, but I was like, let me try this new angle this year because I've never done it before.
Oh, those are cool. We're going to see some more photos.
Okay, neat.
We can't get enough. We can't get enough.
And that's a balloon being blown up and then just some spectators.
No, not blown up, inflated.
Inflated, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
No.
inflated.
Oh,
That's nice.
yeah. Oh,
I thought that was really
that's very
Isn't
cool.
it cute? And then I got the fire in there. I'm sure it's called something different.
That's pretty. Oh, well, each one, Cynthia. Nice job.
Thank you, thank you.
But the smile, I never.
Oh, I like
never
that.
saw the
That's
smiley
cool.
face. Have you, Kim, on
Huh?
the top of a balloon? I've never seen that.
Actually, there are a number of balloons that have those bigger or smaller versions of the smiley faces on the. That's the parachute vent that releases heat from the top of the balloon. So.
And on that visit Albuquerque, one side it's green and one side it's red for the chilies here.
Aww.
Yeah. And I got the red side.
So, Kim, thank you again for all you've done. 47 years volunteering in some capacity at Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah.
You're a historian, and we're going to talk to you in another program about your work with the Heritage Organization with the Balloon
and
Fiesta. So thank you.
I've been a zebra. I've been I do a lot of work on the program and with the Heritage Committee and a lot of other things. I've worked with media before. That's another role people can do. So there's a lot of stuff out there.
And you've written a book we're going to talk about in a couple of future shows. But Kim Vesely, thank you so much. And Cynthia, Brittain, thank you for your
you're welcome.
enthusiasm.
Thank you Thank you for inviting me here today. I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah,
You just
and
click
thank
the
you for
button.
coming from Virginia
Yeah.
to help. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
happy to be here.
And thanks for watching this program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.